Yo, what's up, guys? ENTP Nurture, it's not ENTP Nurture anymore. It's Nurture 1412. And in this video, we are going to talk about the philosophical implications of OPS, Objective Personality System, because I feel even though OPS is a great addition in my life, even though I can use it in ways that could solve my problems, I wanted to understand more of the philosophical values that you use to navigate life itself. And I wanted to highlight a philosophical value that I did see in OPS, which is seeing yourself in truthful manner. But I have other two ENTPs here with me, Asees and Emily. And what do you guys feel about entire OPS being a worldview almost? Like, what do you feel is like a philosophical implication? You know?
Emily, do you want to go first?
Sure. Well, like from my perspective, I really don't feel like there is a philosophical underpinning of OPS. I feel like it's just a rubric to understand the world, like to observe the world more than a philosophy on which to base the way that you understand the world. Do you see the distinction I'm making there? Like it's a framework, but it's not a
moral code.
Yeah. It's not a philosophy, really. It's just like a lens.
So it's not, so it's like not like, I guess, holistic and because it doesn't sort of offer like precepts.
Yeah, right. It doesn't tell you anything or teach you anything about meaning or about direction or about interpretation. All it tells you is how to categorize people, basically, and that's helpful to a degree, but okay. It's not foundational for the whole existence of a human. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, what would be some sort of examples that could be included in OP, you feel like, that are perhaps missing right now? Maybe not these things, maybe some of the things that you bring up are shitty ideas, but just the type of things that you would like to see.
Well, I mean, I don't necessarily think OP needs to be a worldview or a philosophy. I think it's just misunderstood as that, when really it's simply a tool.
Okay. Yeah. So then what separates precise? So it's not like a worldview, like, if I understand you correctly, it's not a worldview, it's a tool, because it's not, it doesn't give you sort of holistic guidelines to follow about how to live the good life, let's say.
Do you feel it almost like aids you? Is that what you're saying? Is it's like almost a tool to enhance the moral compass, whatever moral compass you have? You could be like a psychopath and you could be like, okay, here's OPS, I want this from the world. Yeah. And I feel OPS would still help and do the job. You know what I mean? You can use it. You don't have to have like a strong moral compass to like enable that enables you to like use OPS. That the morality is almost like independent from the tool itself. It's almost like a hammer, right? You want to like murder a person or build a beautiful house, you know? Really up to you.
Yeah, right. Like,
that's a good comparison.
A hammer is amoral, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I feel like perhaps maybe some of the, perhaps part of the cause of the confusion that you're alluding to, Emily, could be because sort of like how Dave and Shannon like want to like how they feel like personally, like how they're like, Byron Katie and Jocko and what's that? I always forget this guy's name. He's like TESE, bald head, David Goggins, like is like do that, do these type, Wes, whatever, Wes Watson's TESE, whatever, like follow these types of people. These types of things are the things that we believe. And so then there's sort of like, there's almost like a, like sort of a, there's like a feeling of some sort of morality there, but that the morality isn't baked within the system or baked into the system itself, that's more so coming from Dave and Shannon's experience and observations, and that they're just giving that to you at the same time as OP. What do you think about that?
Yeah, right. I agree to an extent. I think it's all mixed together and it's not well defined, because to your point, when they say what constitutes success according to OP is that you start doing
Yeah.
you start using all your functions. So when we look at quote unquote alphas, or people who
Yeah.
are doing that, people
Yeah.
who are succeeding, one of the things that they've said recently in one of the Q&As was, just because you are an alpha or you're doing your demons doesn't make you a good person. And I
Yeah.
think it exposes the fact that you can be succeeding according to OP and doing your demons and still leaving open the question, what makes a good person, what makes a whole person, what makes
Yeah.
a complete
I-
person.
I like that they said that, you know,
Yeah.
because it's like it really just defined, I feel like it really defined the scope of their beliefs and for how they think that OP can and should be used, but also but mostly what they're thinking, you know, the alpha point, and that them saying that actually leaves and creates this space for exactly the point that you're bringing up.
Yeah, but it seemed to me that it was coincidental in their mention, like it wasn't an aware point that they were trying to make. You know what I'm saying?
What do you mean by that?
Like they weren't trying to, at least the way I interpreted it, they weren't trying to conclude there's a morality void. They were just saying, it seemed to me that they were saying, just because you're an alpha doesn't make you a good person, and that's the way it is, end of story. It wasn't like, and so in conclusion, go find out how to become a good person. You know?
One more thing
Okay.
about OPS that is interesting compared to, like, let's say, like the system by Byron Katie, the work, right, or any other
Yeah.
like the traditions like Buddhism or something. For you to even do the work, you need to be willing to see yourself truthfully. It's not like a
Right.
it's not like a choice, you know. You could have or could not have. No, for you to use that, you need to see yourself in a truthful way, in a non-biased, non-judgmental way. Only then the entire thing would even work.
Okay, so to combine that with Emily's point, or to try and see how they're compatible, Prem, do you think that Dave and Shannon don't do enough, or that they should do enough, or that they even shouldn't do enough, but that they shouldn't but still don't do enough of articulating precisely how you should be able to come to see yourself?
This is like a super bad analogy, but you know what I see. I tried making fried rice recently, and it's super complicated. It's not that complicated. It's the easiest dish. Fried rice.
Not complicated.
Too complicated. I can't. Yeah. I bought the sauce called the oyster sauce and the fish sauce. Yeah. But my demon aside, I saw another sauce called the all stir fry sauce or something, where all the sauces that I individually bought is already combined in this one sauce. But the
Okay.
but the sauce is still just one ingredient, you know. You still need the rice, you still need the vegetables, yeah.
Right.
And that's
right.
what I feel like OPS is. OPS is like that all-purpose stir-fry sauce that has already combined many ingredients. You put the sauce and it fucking works, right? But thing is, it's just one ingredient. I feel
Right.
like it's like, okay, here's a stir-fry sauce, and you can have like your own morals put into that.
Okay.
What kind of life do you want to live? Do you want to live a more kind and compassionate life? OPS will help you. Do you want to live a very zen life? OPS will still help you. Do you want to live a very bad life? You want to like
Yes.
just cause destruction and chaos? It will still help you. OPS wouldn't like just stop working, like how Byron Katie's work would stop working, you know.
I feel like you're exactly right, and I feel like that is, you know, sometimes I personally feel like sometimes Dave and Shannon hit it on the fucking hit the nail on its fucking head sometimes, and then other times they fumble the explanation of what they mean so much that every single person that watched that video somehow comes out with an almost completely different and incongruent interpretation of it. But I feel like what they have been trying to get at for the longest time by trying to expose us to people like Wes Watson and Byron Katie and whatnot, is sort of like that, is that, hey, this is a tool. And I think that they've also literally said that maybe once when their TE just happened to spit that out, that hey, OPS is a tool, to your point, Prem, OPS is a tool, and that hey, you can sort of come to these guys for more grounded, more moral philosophy. And specifically, I mean, I feel like there's something, I feel like they have a special place in their heart for each one of those people that they talk about, and that they say all of those people, and it's not really a lot of people, but they say all of those people because those people really did something really important for them that they want us to also get from them. And to just use OP to help yourself guide you, and on perhaps, let's say, the order of which people and which micro heroes journeys you need to have in your overall hero's journey. You see what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like OPS itself is super innocent. It's like an innocent kid, you make it like do bad things, it'll do bad things. That's why when Dave was talking about the AI in the interview, the guy who made the AI got scared or something, because he's like, oh my God, what if Facebook finds this out? I'm dead. Or something along those lines, yeah. But the fact that that's even a problem kind of highlights like the innocence of the tool itself. It's like money, it doesn't have any inherent spiritual value to it.
It's how you use it, is what you're saying.
It's how you use it.
Yeah,
you want to use it.
Back to your hammer point, right?
Yeah, but there are like stereotypes, like rich people have their stereotype, poor people have their stereotypes. It comes, but money itself is like super impartial. It doesn't really care you're dealing drugs or dealing. Of course, when you're using the money, you have to use it responsibly. You can do good, whatever, but that still comes upon the person using the money, right? And I feel that is something not pushed enough. Like this, I feel is not highlighted enough. Where end of the day, it really comes down to you and your intention. And this is just like one third of the recipe.
Highlighted in what capacity and by whom?
Highlighted in the capacity that there's still not like the entire game, right? Another game is like getting your intentions straight. Now, how would you get your intentions right? Like, what kind of moral values do you want to live by? Is forgiveness your thing? Is living life beautifully? For some people, it's knowledge. For some people, it's wisdom. Stuff like that. And that OPS wouldn't give you. Maybe when you're typing someone, you could get that as well. Yeah. But OPS itself wouldn't give you that. That's something you have to find out for yourself.
Okay. And so then by whom?
I'm sorry, what?
Right. So that was, you kind of said about the capacity thing, and I think I might have interrupted you on that. So I would like you to continue, but I also just want to re-inject the second part of my question about that it's lacking by whom?
But the person using the system.
Okay.
Like, it's just, I feel like OPS is just like half the equation. There's still another half. You still have to go soul search and find, It's not like OPS is like the place where you'll get all your problems sorted. You could get most of your problems sorted, but you still have like the moral stuff that you have to like figure out that I feel OPS wouldn't give you.
Well, right. And this is the problem though, right? Is that we're TI, we're NT, we're trying to figure stuff out. Many people are not bothered with trying to figure stuff out. So when they come to someone like Dave and Shan, and it's the appeal to authority thing we were talking about earlier of like, okay, somebody who is a puzzler, tell me what they've puzzled so I can adopt that. And Dave and Shannon are not providing that. And, I think it's because that's kind of what we do on autopilot. We're going to collect all of the various options of a philosophical worldview for ourselves and then picking the one that we want. But most people need it to be served to them because they're busy doing, whatever it is that their functions are telling them to do. So I think this is a particular thorn in our side because we are, just hounds for different ideologies,
So do you feel like Dave and Shannon should, okay, so maybe there's three options here, right? So and I think I know which one you believe, but you clarify, right? So is it one, that Dave and Shannon should not be providing this? Is it 2, that Dave and Shannon should be providing this explicitly? Or that 3, Dave and Shannon can or should or shouldn't be providing this? It is irrelevant, but that they should be creating the space for it to be provided by someone or some entity.
So let me answer that, because here's the thing. End of the day, Dave and Shannon are doing what excites them the most.
Okay.
Yeah, they're following their person. That's also a value, you know. It's an unsaid value of them living the American dream. American dream is a value, for instance. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And even though the entire OPS is founded upon some values, I don't think like Dave and Shan should know anything, should do anything different.
Okay.
Unless and until they feel excited to do so themselves, which is completely up to them. Unless they go, you know what, this problem is something I am passionate about, and they solve it, good. Even if they don't solve it, great. But I do feel it is important for the person learning the system or trying to become good at it to like get to understand what you can get out of it and what you can't get out of it.
Okay. To properly
So,
conceptually to market.
Yeah.
Right. So this conversation would have less of a purpose of critiquing Dave and Shan and more of a purpose of public service announcement to people following OP, right?
Guys who are following OP, yeah. One value that I do love about OPS is seeing yourself truthfully. I use spirituality. OPS is just another tool for me to see myself truthfully. For example, I was like super sad or whatever, and I was like learning about forgiveness, which I was trying to like do, right? And I realized I had to forgive myself for not knowing, which I didn't know I was guilting myself into. But it was easier for me to know that information, that I have to forgive myself for not knowing, because I'm using OPS, right? Because I was using OPS, I could go, oh, I'm an observer. I have this fear of missing information, so I could narrow down why I was like feeling anxiety, and then I could learn to forgive myself for not knowing. So knowing to forgive myself for not knowing, I got it from OPS. It did help me. But it was just a tool for me to like forgive, which was the big main dish, right?
Yeah.
The like big picture. And I feel OPS has a potential to like is very versatile in the sense I can use it here. I can use it in a completely different scenario with a completely different context, life understanding as well.
Yeah.
And that's really up to the person using it. So the real question shouldn't be what do you want out of the world? I think it's like the real question of a person using the tool. Because sometimes I see many people, oh, I want to be the best typing guy ever, you know? I want that 99.99% accuracy. You know what I mean? And sometimes it need not be about that too. It can just help you in day-to-day life. You don't even have to. I personally don't type anyone to fight well. I just see few coins and I'm perfectly happy with that, because that's what I want out of a life, right? I just want some things, patterns that I can consume. It's just easier for me to like navigate life, you know?
And that's an equally valid mode of expression or way to use OP, as long as it's an integral thing in your life that is really a positive force.
Exactly. And yeah. And
I just
finally, I'll just say this.
Oh,
And I'll just finally say this. And finally, it's just me how I use it. I'm not saying this is how people should use it, right? You can use it however you want. But however, I just wanted to highlight that choice of using however you want is not predetermined by OPS. It's determined by you. And you need that first before you use a tool, right? Because the tool is there to serve you in some way. So how do you want this tool to serve you is something that you have to decide. I don't think Dave and Chan is going to give you. I don't think your next door neighbor is going to give you that. I don't think even you are going to give yourself that. So the real question is, who's going to give that? It's really mystery, you know? You don't know. But what are you saying, Emily?
I just had this thought of like, okay, so possibly one of the reasons that people who come into OP end up assigning holistic value to it as a system is because it requires so much consume, right? Just to get your arms around OP as a concept. Like that's what we're doing in a savior state. Like all of the lead consumes, of course, are all over the group, but especially the NEFIs and the NETIs, we're just like sucking up concepts as part of our life. So the amount of effort and work it takes for somebody who's not doing that to just assimilate OP into their life, it would have to take up a huge part. That's like if I was, taking on some gigantic freaking ST sleep project, it would have to take up my whole freaking life. And so basically what I'm trying to say is like, if somebody has taken the time to consume it to a level that it's become useful to them, it's going to be a large piece of what they've spent their time on. It's like
it becomes like it becomes such a large and meaningful part of them that they also have a community built around.
But I think value in that. I'm just saying, like, I think we're coming from the skewed perspective of, hey guys, why haven't you consumed, like 50 other large philosophical concepts and picked from them? Like, okay, not everybody's doing that.
Not everybody is doing that. I understand. I'm just saying this is a possibility. I'm not saying any tribe should do it. I don't have, my values is if I have to create a system like Baron KT, will probably be, you need to have like certain values for it to work or something like that. But I would like to conclude with, because you have to like wrap up soon. There's something. Oh yeah, there's another thing where OPS, finally I'll just end with this. We can wrap up around this point. OPS like doesn't give you more information from life, OPS is like a filter that removes certain information and certain information becomes more highlighted. For example, it's like polarized sunglasses. You wear the sunglasses, it removes the sun rays so that you can see the road clear, but it's still removing stuff. And that's really, I know EP here, but that's still a really important point to notice because it does remove information of a person. You don't want to be talking to a person and when Asees is talking, it's like, yep, Demon Blast going off there. Oh, TI, Annie, I am missing Asees when I do that. I'm missing the NF essence of Asees if I just see him in those patterns.
So don't become an ST is the moral of this video.
Just don't narrow down on Sensei, guys. All right, that's like just don't. I'm preaching my saviors and this is against OPS, but I shall. This is needed. Our time has come. No. What do you think of that, Asees? Of this concept?
I think it's very important. I think, of course, I feel like we agree on a lot of things, but that there's also, of course, our idiosyncratic perspective on certain things, of course, and that that's the beauty in sharing our perspective with each other, and of course doing this video to share it with everyone else who is so inclined to watch this for even a little bit or all throughout, that we can learn from each other and negotiate these types of meanings for and with each other, and that, I just also, just for personally, from my IT, I had to explain that, I think that what we're doing and that these types of conversations are really important, but also really important to do in a constructive manner, to not tear down Dave and Shannon, because we wouldn't be here without them, and as bad as they might sometimes, not all the time, you got to appreciate that sometimes they're fucking right on the money, and that we're just too stupid to realize it, and and that sometimes they're the ones that are being stupid and we're right on the money, and sometimes none of us are right and the SFJs are right on the money. You see what I mean? but
No, I'm just
but
kidding.
to but personally, just to I guess to expand on what you guys are saying about how this should fit in, how as individuals to process what we need to go through in order to make this a constructive part of our life. I was talking with you guys about this sort of before, and before we were talking, we didn't even decide that we were going to do it. We just spontaneously, we were just called to do it, right? And so, part of that's OE, but part of that's also just embracing that, this is that, we are allowing ourselves to do what we feel like we are called to do, and the way that we feel like is most constructive. And so,
To our well-being.
yeah, right. And so, to that point, in order to explain how one of the ways that I think is really good in order to do that same thing, but with OP in us as individuals' lives, is that Ken Wilber has a very sophisticated model, but I'll simplify it a lot for everyone. Is that there's basically 4 different quadrants that more or less kind of map onto, surprisingly enough, the sort of the basic idea behind the 4 human needs, not the 4 human needs themselves, but sort of the idea behind it, the force behind why these human needs got evolved in us. And so there is basically introversion and extroversion basically in things and people. And so in these 4 categories, most things in life can fall. And that one of the interesting things that Ken Wilber found is that dimensions of personal development also map onto these 4 categories. And so I just want to quickly go through them and sort of show exactly where I think OP fits in this. Is that there is cleaning up, which is the most introverted. There's waking up, which is kind of a little more. And then there is growing up, and then there's showing up. And so just a little description on each, and then I'll say exactly where I feel like OP fits. They're cleaning up, I guess that will be apparent. Cleaning up, the most introverted, is shadow work. And OP really helps with articulating exactly how our perception and our conception is demarcated beyond our control, right? And so it gives us the tenor of our shadow, but not necessarily the entirety of our shadow, right? And so that's cleaning up, shadow work, our shadow. And that can also be, beyond type abuse. It can be like Hitler was a bad person. If you can't see how you could be Hitler, you have some shadow work to do with Hitler. If you have to be able to embody everything in order to have it accepted and not make a shadow out of it. And that applies.
What's
to
the next
everyone.
one?
The next one is waking up. Waking up is more is a spiritual sort of awakening to sort of universal truths about existence. Not necessarily, physics, like the quantum wave functions. That's beyond the scope of our natural perception. Waking up is like, oh, there are things bigger than me. There is something out there that may or may not be God that I need to surrender to, that I need to submit to and act in mind with. Okay. Growing up is sort of, how do you be a good person in society? That's kind of, it's a bit more ST, like how do you develop social
In a
skills,
collective
soft
sense?
skills, things like in a more collective sense, right? Because I'm moving from more introverted to extroverted modes of development, right? And so that's basically more, that's the thing that we get the most harped on. Like when most people talk about maturity, that's what they mean. Like go to college, be
Asees.
disciplined, go get a job. And then showing
We're gonna
up.
end the recording is gonna stop because of the Zoom thing, dude.
I'm done. I'm pretty much done. Showing up is basically, I think it's exactly like what Tony Robbins says, where he says growing and showing up. So
yes, we did it. Yep, we finished. Thanks for watching, guys. Yeah, yeah, the Zoom thing, 40 minutes, whatever. But yeah, we are done. Yeah.
Perfect summary. We all got it.
I think it stopped recording, but yeah.
Oh, did it? Oh.
I think it's still recording. It says it's still recording.
Is it?
It'll stop
less
any
than a
second
minute.
now if that's what you
Recording
mean.
on mine.
It's still, yeah, it shows recording in mine too, but I'm a bit suspicious. It says less than 1 minute. Is that like a scam or something? Oh my god, look at us. Are we
Missing
posting?
information.